Hey all you cool cats and kittens, today I'm going to show you how to add your bucket liner to your foam fursuit head from my Etsy patterns. First, you're going to stuff your liner inside of your fursuit head. Make sure you line up the back center seam with the back center seam of your fursuit head and that you have a marking where the front center is on your bucket. You're going to start by putting a little bit of glue on the inside edge of your fursuit head, and you're going to roll it over and pinch it up against that base. You're probably going to want some clips for this, because it's a little bit easier than holding it with your hands while the glue dries. After you've got the back center seam glued down, you're going to want to glue the front center seam down. You do the same thing, you're going to just put a little bit of glue on the inside of that lower jaw piece and glue it to your bucket base. Once you've got those two key spots down, you can go all the way around the head doing the same thing, gluing that little edge on the inside of your fursuit head to your bucket base. Once you have that whole outside edge glued down, you can take your clips off, and then you're gonna start working on the corners of the mouth. You can put a little bit of glue right there in that mouth corner and pinch it down to your bucket base. You can move this piece around a little bit depending on where you want your smile and what expression you want your final head to have. You may also have to glue it and hold it a couple of times. It can be a little bit of a tricky spot. This is also a good spot to put some glue on the inside edge of your lower jaw if you want to glue that down, if you want a narrower lower jaw. Once you have those mouth corners glued down, now you're going to glue the inside of your muzzle. Open your mouth up nice and wide and get your glue gun right in between the inside of the muzzle and your bucket base. And you're going to squirt out a nice fat bead of glue. Don't be afraid to use too much. You really want to make sure this is solid and set. You should actually see a little bit of glue peeking out from underneath that muzzle. Once you've coated the entire inside of that with glue, you're going to want to hold it nice and tight until it sets. Don't be afraid to squish it a little bit, it can take quite a beating. Once you're sure your mouth is nice and secure, you can move on up to the bridge of the nose. You're going to do the same thing with that you did with the muzzle, and stick your glue gun in between that nose bridge piece and your bucket, and put down a nice fat bead of glue and hold it until it sets. Once your nose bridge is set, you can move on to gluing down the sides of the nose bridge to your bucket base. You're gonna just put a nice little line of glue down and roll that edge over so it meets up with the bucket base and hold it down until it sets. Do the same with both sides. You may have to do this a couple times, or you may want to do it in shorter chunks than I have done it, because it can take a second to stick. Once you have those edges glued down, you're going to want to get some pins and your eye templates, because now we're going to make the eye sockets. To make your eye sockets, you're going to take your eye template, you'll place your eye inside of the eye socket and adjust the foam around it so it leaves you a nice flat space to leave your eye on and gives you the eyebrow shape that you want. Once you've got those where you want them, pin them down. Make sure to use plenty of pins because you want these to stay in place after you take those eye blanks out. Once you have those eye sockets pinned in place, you're going to start gluing them down. You can do the same thing you did with the muzzle. You're going to take your glue gun and put it in between your foam head and your bucket and squirt out just a little bit of glue and hold it down until it sets, going all the way around the eye, just tucking your glue gun in between those pins and gluing down. If you're not a huge fan of using pins, you can also just trace this area and pull your pins out as you go. I prefer to keep the pins in. It keeps everything in place. It makes it a little bit easier to hold it in place while it dries, but not everyone likes pins, so that's fine. Once you have your eye sockets glued down, you can pull your pins out. You're probably going to have to go back through and fill in some little holes, so go back through and check to make sure that everything is nice and secure and do any touch-ups that you have to do. Once you've made sure that you've filled in any spots that were missing glue, it's time to cut out your eyes and mouth. You're going to want a nice new box cutter for this. You simply open your mouth up, stick the box cutter in the mouth, and cut right along that glue edge that you made before. Then you can move up to your eyes and again do the same thing. Just cut a circle where you want to see out of. I recommend doing this with a pulling motion instead of a sawing motion. It'll be a little bit easier for you. Alright, I think that's it. You should now have a fursuit head base ready to be lined and furred. Hope this helped. Thanks for watching.